first diesel heater, I'm going to say I killed, because I killed the power to it twice while it was running. That causes them to overheat. The fan stops instantly, but there's fuel pressure in the line, so the fuel keeps pushing for a couple of seconds and causes a lot of overheat issues. The diesel heater that I replaced that with, maybe 6 weeks ago, died last night about 9:30 at night. It just, boom, fan was done. Luckily, I had this one like 90% installed in here. I hadn't run the wires yet, I hadn't run the fuel line yet, but everything else was done, and I had most of the duct done. The intake duct isn't done, but it can suck air right through there just fine. And the exhaust duct was done, so it came out here, and the other duct is in our room on the other side of the wall there. So luckily, it only took me like 5, 6, 7 minutes. I was able to pull the battery up here and get this diesel heater running. So now we have great heat in the back of the bus. It's kind of chilly in the front of the bus. I don't know what I'm going to do about that yet. I don't know if I'm going to repair that one, if I'm going to replace it. Every part of this diesel heater, and this one was Happy Buy was the brand, seemed better than the Triclix version that the other two were. So I don't know what I'm going to do. There's a good chance I might just buy a second one like this one. Either way, I got to finish installing this, and I still don't know what I'm going to do about the other one, but this one for sure needs to get fully installed and done now, and not just have a battery stuffed underneath Connor's bed. Step number 1, hold down the power button until it says off. Now when it goes off, I'll disconnect it and move the battery outside. When we had the generator in this bay, we had a diesel can on top of the generator, and that's what we ran our diesel heater off of. I'll show you here. I would run the line right into the diesel tank. The battery was over near the diesel heater, and I used a charger to charge it. Well, now that this diesel heater is right above here, I'm going to run these wires down to the battery. I've moved the battery over here, I'll move the charger over here, and we'll have heat again soon. I should have brought some zip ties with me. Get some zip ties, get all these pulled up out of the way, and then we can turn it back on. What's it, 35 outside today or something like that? Coldest spell we'll see all winter, and the diesel heater breaks on the first day of it. There. That'll keep them up and out of the way. Really, this is all we got to keep it out of the way of. Let's hook up the battery charger. Okay. Yeah. And once we got heat again here, then I'm gonna put that down. Okay, there's the fuel pump. Fuel pump just started clicking. I left a couple extra inches of room in this box because I want to put some flame or fire resistance styrofoam insulation, but just the box itself over it makes a big noise difference. Listen to this. So just the box by itself is kind of nice. Now it was with it up on high, it's now, I just turned it down, so now it's turned itself down, but should have done that with it at 1 speed. Let's try that again. This is with it on high. So it's quite a difference just in covering it by itself. Connor slept with it last night underneath his bed, and he says, yeah, he kind of liked the noise and the buzz of it, so it's going to work here. And we didn't have the cover on it at that point, so it's definitely going to work here. So what I need to do is make this box smaller. So I'm going to put the side I care about against the fence and cut this side, and this side to make it the size that I should have made it the first time. Close to the size I made it the first time. I messed up the first time though, and it was supposed to be this side, and I actually meant this side and this side. So then I had to add that anyway, because that's actually the bottom. It goes like that. I don't like that L, so I'm going to do this in stages. I just drilled 4 holes from the backside to mark where the filter is going to go. Now I can draw some lines, connect the dots, and cut it out from this side. If I cut it out from the backside, this side would end up with a bunch of tear out. Most likely it's going to be hidden by a box, but my luck it wouldn't be. The air filter box was installed from this side. I installed the air filter from the other side. I'll have a grate that most likely will be magneted on that'll come on and off to replace the to replace the filter in the future, but for now this is the way I have it set up. The filter is right there. You turn this little piece, then you can pull it forward and slide it out. The air goes in there and out through there to the heater. Now all I have to do is install that piece and install that piece. So the air enters through this air filter here, which is boxes on the other side, flows through that ducting to there. The diesel heater then pulls it in, out there, underneath there into our room, then right forward here into a vent into his room. Everything's protected and covered, so now he can fill the underside of his bed with stuff again. When I came to Oklahoma for the winter, I knew they got some ice, I knew they got some snow. Right now we're in the middle of over a week of below freezing temps. The last time they had over a week of below freezing temps, 1984. Yeah, it's been a while. It's cold, but still got to get some work done. It's the Minnesota in me. Check out my table saw though. It's just a complete sheet of ice. Good thing I got steel work to do today. My steel, see it on the side of this steel here, which was the top. Everything's covered in ice. It's actually going to get below 0 down here, which I never thought I'd see down here, but whatever. I've worked with wood all my life, and wood has a lot of scraps. I'm amazed at how little bit of scraps I have with the steel. I have not thrown a single piece of steel away that's been longer than an inch. They've all been less than an inch long before I've thrown them away. And here's what my scrap bin looks like. The few pieces I have in there. I mean, even some of these I probably should have thrown away. So it needs to be less than that for me to decide it's worth throwing away. And this piece that I have here, I need a 17.5 inch and a 32 inch piece. I measured from both ends, and here's the scrap I'm gonna end up with in the middle. About 7/8 of an inch. And then I got 2 cuts with, so probably 3/4 of an inch actually wasted. Awesome. Seems like I was always throwing a lot of wood away. In fact, I'm using more steel than wood, and there's my wood scrap pile right now. And then I have one long piece that I'm going to put a curve into, kind of like I did with the kitchen shelves. Being this will be the second time I've put a curve in steel, hopefully I leave a little bit more steel in there and make it a little prettier. Whatever, you're not going to see it underneath the desk either way, but as long as it's pretty on the outside. You ever get a gift that you didn't think you needed, and then you find yourself in the longest cold spell Oklahoma has had in 36 years? Thanks for the gloves, Nikki. They're coming in really handy right now. It's not as smooth on the outside. I guess I should have expected that with less cuts, but it's way more solid on the inside, and this is going to be underneath the desk. The only reason I'm curving this is in case your knee bumps it. I just didn't want a sharp corner, so this is going to be way better than a sharp corner, and yeah, I think it's going to work just fine. I just almost made a mistake I've made an embarrassingly too many times in my life. This here and this here, one of those ways gives me a shelf that's 1 inch too wide and 1 inch too deep, and the other one gives me something that's perfect. But the difference between that and that, after you've put everything together, is quite great. And because I didn't trust my measurement there and how that was going to bend, I am now going to trim that one and this piece off afterwards. It's cut, it's square, well I guess it's rectangle, but they're all 90 degrees is what I meant, and yeah, I think it's time to weld. One nice thing about tacking everything in place first is when you find out you made a little bit of a measurement error, at least now I can catch it. This corner here, if you looked at it here, you'd think I was drunk, but realize it's a perfect 90 if I weld it in like this, and then I'll just have to trim this off. Now it's all square, I can finish welding, then do my grinding and get this thing painted and inside. There comes my dilemma too. I'm not sure where I'm going to paint at. My idea right now is to paint outside and then carry it into the van and have the van running and that be my paint booth, because I don't want to paint in the van, but I'll let it dry in the van. I don't want it in the bus. It's gonna stink too bad. I can't paint out here, it's below freezing. So yeah, I think bringing the steel into the bus, getting it warm, having the paint in the bus, having it warm, coming out here, quick painting, and then setting in the van is gonna work out the best. Yeah, the van paint booth. With the frame piece welded and ready to go, what I needed now was brackets where it held onto the wall. There's one stud on the one wall, one stud on the other wall, and then a stud right in the corner. So I made 4 of these little triangle shaped pieces and 3 uprights, and they will go on there. That's probably not the way I'm going to do it. I'll figure this out though. I'm going to think this through a little more and then I'll weld it back together. Still haven't figured out what I was gonna do for the other 2, but this corner one I knew what I was doing, so I just figured I'd go ahead on that and think about it while I was doing it. I welded the straight up and down rod on, and now I've ground that weld down in the 2 sides where the triangle pieces are going on, so then I can put those reinforcements on. One will go there, one will go there. And that should give us some support. I'm not going to claim to be a welder, but the more I use this welder, the more I like it and the better I am getting at it. So yeah, I'm not a welder, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. Not the prettiest, but not the ugliest welds I've ever made. In fact, probably one of the prettier welds I've ever made. But with all the welding I've done, you think maybe I should be better? I don't know. Everything I've welded before we bought the bus was exhaust and things like exhaust. I've never welded anything that really mattered. When I worked on a race team, I wouldn't touch welding a roll cage. I wouldn't weld a trailer hitch or something like that. Just don't quite trust my ability to someone else's life. But either way, I should get back to this welding because it's going to be dark in our 45 minutes, hour, and I got to get this done. Plus it's cold as fuck out here. One of the hardest things I'm dealing with out here is fog. Not only on my clear face shield, but on my welding helmet too. It's 19 degrees out right now and it keeps fogging up as I'm breathing, but I don't know what's safer, to have this on where I can't see or not have it on where I can see. I keep going back and forth. I've been wearing it the whole time, but in my brain I'm going back and forth. The wind blowing away your shielding gas does not make a person a better welder though. Oklahoma's not the greatest outdoor welding state, that's for sure. It's always windy here. And I decided to have a little wing come forward. That'll give me my bracing there. And that little wing that comes forward then will be pushed against the desktop, so it should get the job done without having to use a piece that went all the way across. I'll do the same thing over there now. You're supposed to get up to like 12 or 14 today. It's got to be getting close to it.
2 or 3 people have driven across this.